Oftentimes, Live with Kelly and Mark hosts, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos share about their 3 kids during the show. However, letting people know what goes on behind the scenes can be vulnerable. But in a recent episode, she pushed back and told the audience not to yell at her about her kids. During the January 13th episode of Live with Kelly and Mark hosts, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos let fans know about ways they can help with the California fires. After mentioning the horrible aftermath families are facing, Kelly changed to a lighter topic. She talks about a skill she has that seems to be dying. Then, she asks the audience if they can read or write in cursive. Furthermore, they discover a unicorn in the audience. A 22-year-old guy admitted he could read cursive, but shrugs when they asked if he could write it and said, "A little bit." Once they discuss the rarity, Kelly continues with a job she thinks she would be good at. She says, the National Archives are looking for people who can read in cursive. Seemingly, Kelly thinks she would be a great candidate to help go through the 200 years worth of documents that need to be transcribed. As she talked about knowing how to read looped cursive, she admitted her kids would be out of luck. Then, Kelly Ripa shares that her 3 kids don't know how to read or write in cursive. Admittedly, she says, they were not taught cursive, they were not taught script in school. But as soon as she said it, the audience groaned. Defensively, Kelly retorts, "I know, look, don't yell at me. I sent them to school." Unlike the 22-year-old audience member, Michael, 27, Lola, 23, and Joaquin, 21, missed out on those lessons. Further building her defense, Kelly reiterates that she sent them to school, and it wasn't her fault they weren't taught. Additionally, she shares that it was a whole new world sending her kids to school. Jokingly, Live with Kelly and Mark host, Kelly Ripa says it was wild sending her kids to school. She adds, they weren't even learning on paper. Additionally, she shares that the parents had to learn everything alongside their kids. At that time, they would set all the parents down and let them know they were doing it wrong. Likewise, Mark Consuelos adds that they even had to learn new math, too. He commented how ridiculous it was that they didn't carry the one. What do you think about Kelly Ripa pushing back against the audience? Do you think she gets sick of criticism about her parenting? Do you like that Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa share about their 3 kids on Live with Kelly and Mark? Drop your comments below. Here's a story inspired by the content you provided, expanded into a 5,000-word narrative blending personal anecdotes, family life, and public-facing challenges. Kelly Ripa adjusted her microphone with a practiced hand, a radiant smile lighting up her face as she turned toward the camera. Across from her, Mark Consuelos, her husband and co-host, offered her a playful wink. The chemistry between them was palpable, an extension of their real-life bond, perfected over decades of marriage and now displayed daily on Live with Kelly and Mark. The show had become more than just a platform for celebrity interviews and quirky games, it was a window into their lives, an open dialogue with their audience. But today, as Kelly prepared to share a tidbit about their kids, she felt a twinge of vulnerability. Letting the public in on family matters was a balancing act, one she and Mark had navigated with mixed success over the years. It was a chilly January morning, and the topic of conversation had shifted from the harrowing California fires to a lighter, nostalgic theme. Kelly leaned forward, her voice animated as she addressed the audience. "All right, let me ask you this, how many of you can read or write in cursive?" she asked, glancing out at the crowd. There was a ripple of laughter and murmurs. A young man in the audience raised his hand sheepishly. "I can read it," he admitted, shrugging. "But write it?" "Maybe a little." Kelly's laughter rang out, genuine and warm. A unicorn, she declared. A 22-year-old who can read cursive, this is rare, people. The moment of levity set the stage for her next revelation. You know, she began, a mischievous glint in her eye, the National Archives are looking for people who can read cursive. I think I'd be a great candidate. I could spend hours going through 2 centuries worth of documents. My kids, on the other hand, she trailed off, shaking her head. As Kelly explained that her 3 children, Michael, 27, Lola, 23, and Joaquin, 21, had never learned cursive in school, the audience groaned audibly. Kelly's smile faltered for a split second before she straightened her posture and pointed a finger toward the crowd. Hey, don't yell at me, she said, her tone half joking, half defensive. I sent them to school. It's not my fault they didn't learn cursive. Mark chimed in, his deep voice laced with amusement.
Yeah.
Let's not blame Kelly for the educational system. But Kelly wasn't done. Seriously, it's a whole new world out there. They weren't even learning on paper. And don't get me started on the new math. She glanced at Mark, who rolled his eyes in exaggerated frustration. Oh, the new math, he said, shaking his head. No carrying the one? What was that all about? Later that day, as the couple prepared to leave the studio, Kelly couldn't shake the sting of the audience's reaction. She had long since grown used to the scrutiny that came with fame, but when it came to her kids, the criticism hit differently. You think I shouldn't have mentioned the cursive thing? She asked Mark as they walked to their car. Mark shrugged, slipping an arm around her shoulder.
Nah.
People will always have opinions. Besides, it's relatable. How many parents out there are struggling with the same stuff? It's not like we're pretending to have it all figured out. Kelly sighed. I just hate that it feels like people are always waiting to pounce. Like, yes, my kids didn't learn cursive. Neither did half the country's kids. Why is that on me? Mark gave her a reassuring squeeze. Because you're Kelly Ripa. People think they know you because you're in their living rooms every morning. It comes with the territory. As the week went on, Kelly found herself reflecting on the conversation.